of what we did so far. It's a big chapter, so I might have to do it again and again. Please mute yourself, whoever is not muted. Okay, this is a summary of first chapter. By now, first chapter should be on your fingertips. Okay, Dhritarashtra speaks only one verse. First chapter, basically three personalities speaking their reaction to the same scene. Okay, Dhritarashtra is saying Kim Akurvat. Then Duryodhana expresses his mind from second to 11th verse, Mahatim Chamum Vyodham. Then blowing of different conches, and we memorize the names of different conch shells. Oh, one thing in the responses is please don't copy and paste answers. Please don't copy and paste answers. Please write your own words. Doesn't matter how long or how short you're writing, it does not matter. But please don't copy and paste. So, from 12 to 19th verse, Hridyani Vradharayet. Then Arjuna observes Krishna, he requests Krishna to bring the chariot in the middle, and then his observation is just the observation that who all are here to fight is this guy from verse 20 to 27. 27 has some feelings, but basically from 20 to 26 is just the observation. Gandivam Shamshate Hastat, his Gandiva bow was slipping out from his hands. Then Arjuna gives 4 out of 5 reasons in first chapter, in 20 from 28 to 46 verse. Apratikaram Ashastram. Chapter 2, we this is the table which is going to come again and again. You can download this table from Teachable. These are the verses to memorize. Let's see, from on Saturday class, I was able to do till 11. So they are memorizing 7 or 11 verse or both, if they can't do both. Okay. This is what is we are doing. We have not touched We have not touched the 11th verse yet, but basically the chapter is about Krishna answering Arjuna's questions. Like whatever reasons he gave, Krishna is giving him some or the other argument. Chapter second is the trailer, right? It's a summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. So there are a lot of concepts introduced. Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let me ask, what are the 5 things which are discussed in Bhagavad Gita? Please raise your hand. Who would like to answer 5 things which are discussed? No, no, not Roshan. By the way, I should make your co-host. Yes, Vidisha Mataji. Please unmute yourself.
Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Karma, and Prakriti.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I like this view because it's more clean. Compassion, Arjuna gives a reason. Krishna gives him knowledge, jnana, from 11 to 30th. Enjoyment, Arjuna gives a reason I won't be able to enjoy without my family members. Krishna refutes the answer by giving him karma kand. Karma kand means no Krishna. I do activity and I get the result and I enjoy out of that result. So he says, you die. If you die on the battlefield, you're gonna go to the heavenly kingdom and you will enjoy. And if you will win the war, then also you will enjoy because you will have the whole earthly planet. So karma kand is used, not karma yog. Okay, and then sinful reactions. Krishna Arjuna gives a reason argument that it's sin to kill the family members and elders, and Krishna uses buddhi yoga. Please remember this because this word buddhi yoga is introduced in second chapter, which actually means bhakti yoga, but Arjuna misunderstands it to mean intelligence. So use of the intelligence to connect with the supreme. That is where his confusion comes, that if you're telling me that use of the intelligence is superior, then why are you engaging me in such a ghastly warfare? Third chapter will become start from there. So he uses his bhakti yoga that Swarpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. There is no sin if one does a devotional service to Krishna by the use of bhakti yoga. And 38 to 53. And then destruction of dynasty. I think my class is now very well versed with the steps that Arjuna gives. What are the steps of leading to destruction of dynasty from 39 to 42nd verse in first chapter. And Krishna uses karma yoga as the answer. That if one does the prescribed duty, there is no destruction, there is no fear of Varna, Shankara. And the answer will be in third chapter. Okay, this is the overview. We are still over on the first talk for Arjuna surrender 2.1 to 2.10. Today, I hope we are able to reach the turning point. I introduced last week, whenever we study Srila Prabhupada's books, not only do we study it objectively, subjectively, discussion, but also look at the analogies that Srila Prabhupada uses in explaining all the different things. For example, in 2.1, Prabhupada uses, remember he was explaining that the compassion should be wise, where I said two kinds of compassion are there, wise compassion and idiot compassion. So wise compassion is, Srila Prabhupada explains, compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. Similarly, a man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outer dress. So this is the analogy he's using, and we did this also last week. Absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. This can be explained by the example of a sunshine, sun surface, and sun planet. Okay, so Prabhupada uses the analogy of sun, shine, planet, and surface. Shine, surface, and planet. Sorry, that's where we did. But I'm just showing you because I am using the standard of Bhakti Shastri with you all. Even though it is not technically Bhakti Shastri, but I'm still using that same standard to, that is why we are going slow. Okay. So, okay, this is going to be today. So let's read. You can chant behind
Hare
me.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Who is speaking?
I'm Shobha Malli. I'm little late. I just now saw 1:15. Hare Krishna
Oh,
Mataji.
yeah.
It's okay.
Your husband
Hare
came to the 3 p.m. class yesterday, and
Oh.
his
Okay, Mataji told
name
me.
Mallikarjuna. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Anesthesiologist, he
Yes,
said.
Mataji.
Okay, let's start. You can chant behind me.
Yes, Mataji. Yes,
Om Namo
Mataji.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Everyone can say, and you can unmute yourself and chant behind me. Om Namo
भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
वाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम
Om
नमो
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we have to start from text 3 right now, right?
Yes, Mataji.
So please
Yes,
raise your hand who would like to read. Who would like? Anvya Mataji?
Yeah. Yes.
Hare-
माँ जॉन डोर कड़ा
I'm just gonna mute everyone one time, Mataji, and then you can unmute yourself, okay? Okay, Mataji, please go and unmute.
Mataji, text 1 and 2.
We did that.
We did it.
Last week, 1 and 2. We spent the whole 1.5 hours only in 1 and 2. Anvya Mataji, please unmute yourself.
It is Shri Bhagwan Uvacha.
No,
Now,
Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah. So it is, I'm just saying it's Bhagwan Uvach. It is text 3.
Oh, but Krishna is speaking. Okay.
Yes, Krishna is speaking.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna.
Klaibam mamsma gama partha naitatvayupapadyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam taktvottishta parantapa.
Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Translation: O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of the heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Purport: Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father, Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjun had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of a Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in the name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relative. But Krishna considered that sort of a magnanimity not approved by authority. Therefore, such magnanimity is called non-violence, should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So we read in first two verses. What were the first two verses? That Arjuna was full of compassion, very sorrowful, and he was crying, and he spoke to Krishna as follows. No, Krishna spoke. Seeing Arjuna full of compassion and very sorrowful, his eyes brimming with tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. And Krishna said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the progressive values of life. They do not lead to higher planets, but to infamy." Right? We discussed the whole thing. And there were three things which were important in this particular purport. First purport. What were the three things? Compassion, where the compassion has to be applied. And what is the purpose of speaking Bhagavad Gita? And this Bhagavad Gita presents the analytical study of the soul and the super soul. Right? And in verse 2, we studied four things. Does anyone remember what were the four main highlights of the second verse? It was a big verse. You can raise your hand or unmute.
Can I try, Mataji? Sumati?
Yes, Mataji, please try.
Sumati?
Yes, Mataji, please try.
Yeah. First one is that the absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding. That is the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Sorry, am I doing it wrong?
No, you're not doing it wrong. I'm just doing multitasking here. Go ahead. Don't look at my face, okay?
Okay. You seem bewildered, so I thought I'm going into
It's
a
too early
wrong.
in the morning. It's not even 4 a.m. So
Yeah.
it's 4
Okay.
a.m. now. You can see 4 or 2 a.m.
Okay. And the next point is the Bhaktas who have realized the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost. And Supreme Personality has all opulences fully. So
The definition
Krishna,
of word Bhagwan.
only Krishna, yeah, Krishna possesses all the opulences fully.
Okay.
And then he quotes the Srimad Bhagavatam. Though there are many incarnations of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and only from him are the many incarnations coming out of their expansions of him.
Sorry. And then the fourth, Ete Chanchakala Punsa. And also there's a quote from Brahma Samhita. Very nice, Mataji. Very nice. So Prabhupada explains three features of God realization. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. Then explains the meaning of the word Bhagwan. And then quotes references from Brahma Samhita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And now we are reading. Okay, now we established that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It will be established in many other places also, but at least first two verses are very important. If we don't understand, that who the speaker is, then the whole Bhagavad Gita becomes galagra, pain in the neck. Who's speaking? Okay, so Krishna is speaking, and Krishna is saying that these things are not suitable for you. See, Krishna is very practical. When I read Bhagavad Gita, I found it like very practical. He's not saying, okay, just surrender and you rest and sleep and I will do everything. That is what our culture kind of tells us. Leave it on God, God will do everything. But here, God Himself is saying, give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastise of the enemies. Means he has to fight. He's covering Arjuna from all perspectives. He's saying that this is your duty. You're a kshatriya. This is your duty. You cannot go, show a back to your duty. And also, if you abandon the battle, let's say even if you abandon the battle, then you're committing an infamous act. You're going to be infamous. So you have to get up and fight. Such so-called non-violence is not approved by Krishna. Neither is he saying, at least I have not come across, where Krishna says, don't work, I will work for you. You go and have fun in your life. Right? Okay, who would like to read? Someone can read like next 2-3 verses. You can, Tanvi Mataji, yeah, you raised hand last time also. Mataji, please unmute yourself.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. Arjuna uvacha katha bhishmamaham aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi parityosyami pujharava arishudana. Translation. Arjuna said, O killer of Madhu, Krishna, how can I counterattack with arrows in a battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Purport. Respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather Ugrasena or his teacher Sandipani Muni? These were some of the arguments by Arjuna to Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So Krishna speaks, then Arjuna speaks, Krishna speaks, Arjuna speaks. So he's also saying, like, see, he's representing the dilemma in all of our lives. If I am ever faced with a situation like this, God forbid, then what do I do? Do I go against my elders, or do I give up Krishna consciousness? Or Krishna consciousness means doing what Krishna wants. What do I do? So Krishna is going to reveal what to do. Yes, Mataji, you can read the next one too. Tanvi Mataji.
Mataji. Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhakshama pihaloke hatvarth kamastu guruni hava bhunjiya bhogatrudhir pratikdhana. Translation. It is better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though they are avaricious, they are nonetheless superiors. If they are killed, our spoils will be tainted with blood.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Purport. According to scriptural quotes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers, but Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood.
Very nice. This is a very important verse. Thank you, Mataji. It's a very important verse. It's actually one of the learning points. If you all remember, we had a verse like this in chapter 1 also. Roshan had found out for me, 37-38, where Krishna says, Prabhupada writes in the purport, the obligation is binding if the result is good. If the result is not good, then the obligation is not binding. And this is another turning point where Prabhupada is writing, according to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. We can abandon. There are certain things which cannot be abandoned. For example, a spiritual master can never be abandoned. If one accepts a spiritual master in front of the deities, the Vaishnavas, and the sacrificial fire, cannot be abandoned. So, but there is a clause that if it engages in abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination, is fit to be abandoned. Now, please raise your hand and tell me any other incidents from the Shastras where someone abandoned their spiritual master or any elder. Other than Bhagavad Gita, now we know Arjuna is going to fight. But more example from the Shastras where a devotee or a person abandoned their spiritual master on the strength of this particular verse or line that we just read. Rama Lakshmi Mataji, your hand is raised. Do you want to answer?
Ravana
Mataji?
also abandoned his guru and his mother also. Like
Why did he abandon them?
when they said you should leave Sita, otherwise the Lanka will become chaos, everything.
That is
Then
not
he did
according
not
to the
listen.
scriptural code, na? Is it according to the scriptural codes? A teacher who engages in abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. I think he was a demon. He was a demon. So
The
maybe.
teacher you are asking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mataji, he is a demon.
Okay.
Mataji Shukracharya
Yeah,
and
Mataji.
Bani Maharaj.
Yes. Ramalakshmi Mataji, your example is not wrong. It's correct. The incident is correct. But it is not befitting this line that according to the scriptural codes, Ravana's abandonment of his words of his guru are not according to the scriptural codes. We read in verse 36 of first chapter, there are 6 kind of intruders that must be killed. Remember, Mataji? Ramalakshmi Mataji, were you there with us?
Mother. Yes.
So,
One who
what were
kidnaps
they?
a wife,
Yes.
a poison giver, one who
Yes.
sets fire to the house, one who
Yes.
attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one
Very
who
nice.
occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps a wife.
Yeah, so he kidnapped the wife of Lord Rama, right? So it's not his abandonment is not according to the scriptural codes. Mataji, are you understanding the difference? The main idea is to understand, not to win a battle or of arguments.
Mataji, can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, 1 second, Mataji. So, Ramalakshmi Mataji, I still want to know. It's a small class, and if you're not convinced, please speak up.
Yeah, Mataji, if you give another example, I will definitely understand better.
Yes, so Meghna Mataji gave an example. Anya Mataji, you had another example?
Yes, I feel Vibhishan, he was ready to leave his brother Ravan and the entire Lanka because he was told by his brother that you should not be chanting the name of Ram. So
Yes.
this being an elder brother, though Ravan was not exactly his guru, but he decided to abandon the kingdom also
Yes.
in favor of Ram.
Yes. So that is according to the scriptural codes. For the sake of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we abandon. Harshita Mataji, Yes, Mataji. What is your
Hare
example?
Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, when these words are there, na, that he's lost his sense of discrimination. But Mataji, didn't Dronacharya, he knew that the Kauravas were wrong. He knew that, this is wrong and right, but he was bound by oaths. So won't you say that he knew his sense of discrimination was there, but he couldn't do anything about it?
That's what we read in first chapter, verse 37, 38. The discrimination, the obligation is binding if the result is good. But the obligation is not binding if the result is otherwise, right? We read Krishna is very clever, already introduced. I'm opening my book.
Sorry, forgot.
So, yes, Mataji, in 37, 38, under such obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight because he had been challenged. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Okay, you're a lawyer, right? You can use to win a case. So Dronacharya was not obliged to do what he did. In other words, externally. Okay, of course, there are Vaishnavas, there are internal reasons for what they did. So yes, the example. Tanvi Mataji, you have an example?
Mataji, one thing came to my mind, maybe I'm wrong, but Hiranyakashipu, like he was the father of Prahlad Maharaj, and he was his father, not exactly his spiritual master, but then Shukracharya was spiritual master of Hiranyakashipu. So whatever he taught Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu wanted Prahlad to follow his footsteps, but Prahlad Maharaj was worshipping Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, and he refused to follow his footsteps.
Very nice. Best example. Very nice, Mataji.
Mataji, can I, sorry,
Yes.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, can I say something?
Sure.
Mataji, I'm not sure if this would be a guru-disciple example, but if Ravan was the greatest devotee of Shiv, Lord Shiva, and he used to devote himself, and when he did not get the boon as desired from Lord Shiva, he abandoned Lord Shiva. Would that be an example? Because then he turned into a demon, or then before that, earlier to that, he used to only keep praying to Shiva. And when he did not get him, that's the time he was like, I'm going to become more aggressive towards the bad doings.
I don't know that pastime actually. I cannot say. But the principle, Mataji, just check the principle. There can be many, many pastimes, but the principle will always remain the same.
Can I speak, Mataji? Can I speak?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
No, what just now she is asked, I think it is just exactly opposite thing what we are discussing.
Yes,
Because,
I felt that. I
because
felt that.
when we are telling abandoning something means it should be for a higher force, for a
Cause.
higher purpose. It should be not for the selfish thing. Ravan abandoning or not worshipping Shiva is not is going to a higher force. Suppose he would have been done it for serving Krishna, then that would have been a different situation. But
Yes.
he is abandoning to fulfill his ego and fulfill his satisfaction. So that cannot be taken as example.
Yes.
So whatever, if we are going to a higher consciousness, particularly in a spiritual ladder, then abandoning the lower things is better. Here, why we are justifying Arjuna what is going to be good? Because he is going to fulfill the Supreme's decision, Lord Krishna's decision. So when Lord Krishna wants something, in that place, whether somebody is his teacher, somebody is grandfather, does not serve any role there, except it is an emotional attachment or
Very nice.
moral attachment.
So Mataji, you got it, Harshita Mataji?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Just check the principle. Is Krishna satisfied with what I'm doing? Or is it am I satisfied with what I'm doing? So if it is a self-satisfaction without the satisfaction of Krishna, then it is sense gratification. Like you just
Mataji, I've seen that
Hello,
past
Mataji.
time on TV, that's why I was questioning.
Hello, Mataji.
Yeah, Karthik.
Hello. Hello.
Mataji, I lost my recording. Sorry. Can you please? I just lost my network came just now.
Okay, no problem, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Parag Prabhu, yes, and then
Yeah.
Vasudevan Prabhu can speak
Yeah.
after. Yes.
Okay, the best example I can think of is like Bali Maharaj and the Shuklacharya. So when Vamandev come to Bali Maharaj, he asks for a 3 feet, 3 feet of land, and he abandoned his guru Shuklacharya just to satisfy Krishna, which is in Vamandev avatar.
Yes, very nice. Nirupama Mataji, you are Vasudevan Prabhu, please go ahead. And then Nirupama Mataji, you're writing to me in the chat, but I don't know that pastime. So please speak up after Vasudevan Prabhu. Yes, Vasudevan Prabhu.
In this context, I think the intention of Krishna, Lord Krishna, was to impress upon Arjuna that in this case, both Bhishma and Drona, they were mute spectators when Draupadi was disgraced. You know, so they both deserve to be abandoned because their act at that way was abominable. That's what Krishna was intending to impress upon Arjuna. I just can't remember any instance to other than this to exemplify this. If you can tell me one.
Give one incidence for what, Prabhu?
Of this act of the Shishya abandoning the Guru.
Oh, so the disciple abandoning the Guru. Parag Prabhu and Meghna Mataji said, na, Bali Maharaj was performing the sacrifice, right? Before he was going to fight a battle against the demigods to win the kingdom of Indra. He was performing the sacrifice, and he was a very powerful king. He was a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj.
Yeah.
So demigods approached Brahma, then Brahma directed them to Vishnu, and then they prayed, and then Upendra, right? And Vamana Dev came to the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj, and Shukracharya warned Bali Maharaj. Shukracharya is the spiritual master of the demons, right? Bali Maharaj was in demoniac family. So Shukracharya warned Bali Maharaj that don't give whatever this particular Brahmana is going to ask, because actually he's Vishnu. If you give it to him, he's gonna take everything from you. Don't give him. Yeah. And then Bali Maharaj turns to his spiritual master and says, "Oh, Vishnu, he has come to my doorstep, but you taught me that everything should be surrendered to Vishnu. Then why I will not give?" He said, because Shukracharya was worried that if everything is taken away by Vishnu, then Shukracharya will not get his salary. So Bali Maharaj abandoned Shukracharya right then and there.
No, sure.
He abandoned.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I speak?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji, speak.
Mataji, why Lord Indra killed Bali Maharaj's father and burnt him?
Who was Bali Maharaj's father? Prahlad Maharaj's son? I don't know. I know what is written in Bhagavatam. Does anyone know?
Yeah, I know it. Can I speak?
Sure. Can I just, 1 second, can you both wait? Because I want to know what Nirupama Mataji had to say, because she wrote something in the chat, but I don't know that pastime. Before we go here, there, everywhere, can we please hear the devotee out? Yes, Mataji, please tell.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Actually,
Krishna.
here the Karna and his guru Parsuram, I want to highlight. But Parsuram, because Karna is not a Brahmin and Kshatriya, so he abandoned the Sisya. The guru abandoned the Sisya. This is the example.
The other way.
This is the opposite.
Yeah. So,
okay, why did he abandon Mataji?
Because he is not a Kshatriya and also not a Brahman, so he belongs to other caste, so he is not don't want to teach Karna.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
No,
so much.
initially I believe Karna was taught by Parshuram, but when he realized that Karna has actually lied him, that's the reason Parshuram has abandoned him. It was not that he was not taught; he was taught by Parshuram. But when he realized that Karna has actually lied that he is a Brahmana, Kshatriya, whereas he was bitten by a scorpio. And that's the reason Parshuram has denied or abandoned Karna.
So
No,
some
the,
abandonment happened, either
He
this way or
was
that way.
cursed also, Mataji.
no,
He was cursed also.
the issue is the Parshuram came to earth to kill all the Kshatriyas. His vengeance was because of the Kshatriyas were being unruly and all. So he killed all the Kshatriyas several times. And after Rama came, and after Swayamvar of Rama and Sita, from that time he has taken, he has gone out of the material world and he was there. But that is there in mind, whomever he was teaching only to Brahmins, not Kshatriyas. Because he was always thinking that if we teach the Kshatriyas, then they will use the Shastras in the teaching in a wrong way. That's why he was never teaching the Kshatriyas. Except, of course, he has taught Bhisma, but otherwise he was not teaching the Kshatriyas. So the moment he came to know that because of his endurance of that scorpion bite, he came to know that he is a Kshatriya. So then he started to telling that why you have. He has not told also he is Brahmin, but because his appearance was looking like Brahmin, that's why. But when he came to know that he is Kshatriyas, he cursed him that in the right time you cannot use my teachings.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Can we
this is
discuss
like
about
the
this Bali Maharaj pastime after we read the verses, please? Because I'm getting messages. Let's not deviate. Is that okay, Dr. Paddy and Nihal Prabhuji, the most senior
Yeah.
devotee in the class?
It-
Okay, I'm gonna just mute everyone because there's some disturbance, and then maybe one of Sakshi Mataji, would you like to read verse 6 and 7? Sakshi Mataji, you can unmute yourself.
Mataji, I would not be so good in reading Sanskrit part.
It's okay.
That's okay.
Can I
It's
read,
okay.
Mataji?
Mataji, let her read, and after that you can read.
Okay.
One request I have from this class, because I don't know everyone, whenever you speak, please tell your name. So I am
Okay.
not looking up and down who's speaking. Okay? So, okay, please everyone mute yourself. She's going to read. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
न चैदत् विद्मः कर्तनं न गैरो यद्वा जायेम यादिवा न जायेयु यन् इव हत्वा न जीवी विसामास देवस्तिथ प्रमुख धरतासरात्रः. I'm sorry, Mataji, not so good. Okay, translation. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The son of Dhritarashtra, whom if we killed, we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield. Purport. Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of the Kshatriya, or whether he should refrain and leave by begging. If we did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of subsistence, nor was there certainty of victory, because either side might emerge victorious. Even if victory awaited them and their cause was justified, still, if the son of Dhritarashtra died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. All these considerations by Arjuna definitely prove that he was not only a great devotee of Lord, but that he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. He was truly victorious, as these qualities combined with his faith in the words of instructions of Shri Krishna, his spiritual master, indicate. It is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge, and without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. Arjuna was competent in all these attributes, over and above his enormous attributes in his material relationships.
Very nice, Mataji. Thank you. So this is a verse where Arjuna gives the last reason for not fighting, and that is indecision. 2.6. This is the last fifth argument that Arjuna gives. So Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of Kshatriyas, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. So he's undecided. Okay, and then this quality is praised because he's thinking again and again before doing before taking a step. That is actually a quality of a person in mode of goodness, who introspects again and again and again, thinks whether I'm going to do. You know, there is one very nice devotee. He was the temple president of Chicago Temple. I'm forgetting his name. He gave one discourse on Ramayana last year in May. I was there. And one thing I remembered was there is a difference between reacting and responding. Lord Rama did not react. He responded. So Krishna consciousness actually teaches us thoroughly how to respond. And that's what Arjuna is trying to learn from Krishna. So far, now 2.7 is the turning point. So far, Krishna and Arjuna are talking as friends. So friendly talk is sometimes can be like, okay, you know, by the way, what should I do? So maybe taken or may not be taken. A friend may give advice to another friend, and another friend might take it or might not take it and implement it, right? But 2.7 is a turning point, because here Arjuna is going to surrender to.
Can I speak something, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can I speak something on this?
Yes, Dr. Buddy.
Yeah, there is another deeper aspect of analyzing the nature of Arjuna at this point. Actually, I read it from Sri Aurobindo's essays on Gita. Because he has full control over senses, what we are understanding from last two lines, and he understands what in the material nature, what he has to do and all, whom to respect. But why he has gone into such delusion is this is how sometimes the ego attacks. Because always we think that ego comes to us when we are in a height of everything, at the height of success or height of material achievement. But ego is such a thing that it can come even in the weaknesses. So actually when he is becoming morally little weak, that is where exactly it is a sort of ego coming in weakness. So there, that's why Lord Krishna trying to teach him what is the Sthita Prajna. Once he becomes Sthita Prajna and then annihilate the ego, that is the other thing what he is going to teach, I think. So this is how the ego comes in a subtle way. We sometimes may not understand. That is one of the aspect of Arjuna's delusion.
So there is one, I think in introduction, I will show you the slide. In introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not going to be present if a person is not pure. Krishna cannot be seen by anyone who is having an element of any material tinge of quality. Even a little bit of a tinge is present, Krishna is not going to be present. But Arjuna, there is no question of false ego here. That's not what the acharyas are saying. Arjuna's bewilderment, you can see, this is from introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Arjuna's bewilderment and appearance of illusion must be understood to be Krishna's arrangement. It's not, so they in first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th chapter, verse number 18. Teachings of Queen Kunti. You can note down the reference, all of you. Srila Prabhupada writes there that once Narad Muni went to Krishna, okay, and he asked that jokingly, because Narad Muni is little friendly with Krishna, that I have a doubt. You know, Pandavas, they are your pure devotees. Pure devotees means that they don't have any They don't have any other shelter other than you, Krishna, and you are the supreme personality of Godhead. You are the proprietor of everything, upper and below. Then how come they had to face so many executions in their life? Narada asked this question. Prabhupada writes there. Their kingdom was stolen. Their wife they tried to insult. They were sent to the jungle. They were not given proper protection. Their widowed mother had to go with them and suffer. But the wonderful thing I see is that they do not complain to you. What kind of a hypnotism you do, I do not know. So Prabhupada uses the word, Sanskrit word of hypnotism there, vashikriyate. What kind of a vashikriyate you're doing, Krishna, I do not know on your devotees. So the hypnotism is done by Krishna. There is no question of false ego. Krishna will not be visible. Namo akinchana vittaya nivritta gunavittaye atma ramaya shantaya kevalya pataye namaha. We must understand Shastras as they are. That sounds like more of a personally motivated interpretation. Somebody who wants to have good material qualities can interpret it that way. But the Shastras are, Krishna is akinchana vittaya. Akinchana vittaya means, it's a very nice verse. Akinchana vittaya means property of the impoverished. Krishna is the property of the materially impoverished person. Nivritta gunavittaye. He cannot be present in front of anyone who is still bewildered by three modes of material nature. Atma Ramaya Shantaya. Krishna, you are Atma Ram. Atma Ram means self-satisfied. Krishna does not need to depend on anyone to be satisfied. Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kevalya Pataye Namaha. Only by pure devotional service can you be understood. So Akinchana Vittaya is explained in a very detailed manner. When we will finish Bhagavad Gita and we will start Srimad Bhagavatam, I will come to it. My girls in Sadhu Sangha already read it, right? Akinchana Vittaya, property of the materially impoverished. So I am respectfully agreeing to disagree with this interpretation. That's not what Krishna is made of. Krishna is not going to be present in front of anyone who has a tinge of material element. You have to get rid of completely. Krishna, only you, nobody else. Otherwise, Krishna will disappear. There is a pastime in 10th canto which I can relate to, but it's in 10th canto. In Rasa dance, I can just give it's a very detailed discussion. That's why Rasa dance comes in 10th canto. But there is a mention that when Radharani felt little bit proud that Krishna is paying more attention to her. Little bit. I remember reading and we discussed. Krishna disappeared from her vision. He disappeared. Then she was asking the birds, she was asking the trees, she was asking the animals in the jungle, have you seen him? Have you seen him? Have you seen him? So I have never come across anything like that in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. I do not know which Sampradaya you are quoting, Prabhu. Which Sampradaya is this Acharya belonging to, if I may ask? Then I can ask my Guru Maharaj. I can email him and ask him.
It's Sri Aurobindo. It might be knowing in Pondicherry, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh.
I have heard the name.
He has written a book. Yeah.
But Sampradaya, is he a self-proclaimed?
He has written a book.
Anyway.
It's not Sampradaya. He's a yogi.
So we
he
don't
has a book on essays on Gita, actually.
Okay, fine. I mean, I'm no one to disrespect
fine.
or disagree, but the principle remains the same. Like you, if someone has to become a very big IAS officer, the principle is you have to finish the school, you have to finish the college, you have to finish this criteria, pass this exam. Principle is the same across the whole world. To become anything in life, the principle of spiritual knowledge is the same. It has to be given, parampara. It has to be through a parampara. Not that one morning I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I feel like I'm a guru of the world. Not like that. Okay. But a very nice point, Prabhu. You brought up a very important and very nice point, and I'm very thankful to you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Tanvi here. So
Yes, Mataji.
when you were talking about the appearance of Krishna, so is it a specific form that you are mentioning? Because Krishna also appeared in front of Duryodhana and Shishupal and other demons. So they were materially, I mean, they were
They were
demons.
puffed up. So they could not see. So Krishna was unavailable, right? Even though he was there, but he was not there. So what is the answer? Yes, anybody? What is the verse in Brahma Samhita? Who can see Krishna? What is the verse in Brahma Samhita? Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena shanta sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti. So Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Prabhupada explains this. Means, you know how ladies decorate their eyes with the mascara and the eye and the kajal? Like that, a devotee puts an ointment of love for Krishna in the eyes. And then Krishna becomes available. So Krishna says, right, yathamam prapadyante tam satheva bhajami ham. As one surrenders unto me, I reveal. So first step we have to take. As one surrenders, I reveal to that particular degree. So yes, Krishna was present in front of Kansa, and Kansa was so Krishna conscious. Kansa was Krishna conscious 100%, more than anybody actually. He was in his dream was getting Krishna. He was eating, sleeping, thinking 100, like 24 hours a day, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. But was he thinking as Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, or was he thinking of killing Krishna? He was thinking of killing Krishna, so he's a demon. But a devotee thinks of serving Krishna, so he's a devotee. Very fine line difference. Okay.
So which verse you
Hare
quoted,
Krishna,
Mataji,
Mataji.
from Brahma Samhita?
Premanjana
Can I,
Churita
can I,
Bhakti
can I,
Premanjana.
Mataji?
Yeah.
Mataji, can I speak?
Premanjana
No,
churita
one
bhakti
second, all of you, please.
vilochanena
Oh, very nice.
santas sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaramachinta gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
Very nice,
This one,
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you,
What
Mataji.
number
Hare
is it?
Krishna.
What
Number
number?
I have not put the number, Mataji. It is not there in the book. I just keeping my book next to me. I read that.
Mataji, I'll look up the number. Thank you,
Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you,
Mataji. Can
Mataji.
you please tell the verse which you quoted? Akinchana.
Namo Akinchana Vittaya. First canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th chapter, 27th verse. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivritta Guna Vittaye. That's Queen Kunti's prayer. Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kevalya Pataye Namaha. Anyway, Mataji, let's look up this verse, and Roshan or anyone can please look up what number is it?
38, Mataji. 38.
Thank you. I will also write down. 38. So can we proceed? Because I do want to cover this Guru Tattva in text 7. Is it okay? Yes or no?
Yes,
Nihal
yes,
wants
yes.
to say something, and I'm very cleverly suppressing his speech. Yes, Nihal. But be quick, okay?
Mataji, for Hastinapur, Krishna will come to Duryodhana's Dhritarashtra's palace and he'll talk, and they'll try to catch Krishna, but he'll take that roop like he's holding the Sudarshan Chakra. Then why Duryodhana and Shikandi and Karna can't see? Why only Sanjana, Bhishma and Drona can see that Rupa?
Nihal, your questions have to be directed to the chapter where we are, not Mahabharata.
Yes,
Okay, your
Mataji.
questions are difficult for me because I have not read Mahabharata. Is there anyone in this class who has read Mahabharata? I do not know, honestly. I honestly don't know the answer.
Mataji, I would only say to this answer, you have already told the answer that Krishna reveals that form only to his devotees. And only therefore Duryodhana, Shikhandi and Shishupal, they couldn't see that form.
Okay, that's a principle, so it must be same. Okay, thank you. So Nihal, please make sure your questions are very, very focused to this chapter. And at the end of the chapter, please write down your questions. When we finish second chapter, I will hold a class specifically for question answer, and then you will ask. Okay, is that okay with you?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think Shobhamali Mataji wanted to read the verse she wrote to me.
Yes, Mataji. Can I
Go
read,
ahead.
Mataji?
Sure, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Verse 7th. Karpanyadoshopahat svabhava prechami tvam dharma sammudacheta yachreyasyanishchitam bruhi tanme sheshasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Translation.
Very nice.
Translation. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Now, I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now, I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore, it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we became perplexed. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In the Garga Upanishad, the perplexed man is described as follows. Yova idat aksharam gargya adi aviditvasman lokat prayati sa kripanaha. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who thus quits his world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is a most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is a Brahmana or he who is intelligent enough to utilize his body to solve all the problems of life. The Kripanas or miserly persons waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc. in the material conception of life. One is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members on the basis of a skin disease. The Kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. Though he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still, on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks. Talks between the master and the disciple are serious, and now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. How Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated in the Gita itself, and yet foolish mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without, and one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, very nicely read. Well, this is a turning point in Bhagavad Gita. I request all of you to please hear Srila Prabhupada's lecture on this particular verse. I will share the lecture in the group. Here, Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna as a disciple. So he's saying, I want to finish the talks of as friends. Now I am a disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. So this is the etiquette. Not like we have a guru and the guru is, what is it Prabhupada uses? You know, when people go to shop in the market and they just do window shopping like that, like just don't have a guru for the sake of having a guru. The guru's and the disciple must have a relationship based on the instructed and the instructor. And Prabhupada gives many points in this verse that this particular world where we are living is full of perplexities. At every step there is danger, right? Padam padam yadavi padam. There's every step there is danger. We do not know that what will happen to us in the next step. We think that it's going to be fine. I should not speak of my personal experience, but I'll share one. A few weeks ago, I had a child, 7-year-old, brought to the hospital because the mother gave the history that the child was playing upstairs with his siblings, and then he came down to the mother and he appeared as if he's choking. So the mother made him vomit, thinking that it will help the child. The child vomited and collapsed. So he was brought with no heart rate and no respiratory rate. And I was there. It was the ghastliest of cold in my life. 2.5 hours we were resuscitating. So later the coroner's office, they called and they said that they found a cap of a pen. You know, this plastic cap of a pen in his throat. So he had choked on that and he died from this. So a lot of perplexities. That's like my first-hand experience. Of course, all of us have their. Dr. Padi will have a whole list. He's a very tough. His profession is probably not the worst. I'm sorry, Dr. Padi. The most difficult, challenging is the word. Very, very challenging. I'm still a small pediatrician only. So surgeons are very, very challenging life. Or even if you're not a doctor, still there's going to be a perplexity. 7-year-old dying of a cap, like I couldn't accept it. So then this verse came to my mind, that complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. And it's like a forest fire. Sansara dava nala nidha loka. Tranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam. No one goes in the forest to set fire. But still the forest fire takes place. How does it take place? The temperature rises, the dry leaves have friction, and then it generates sparks and the fire is generated on its own. So since this world is like compared to the forest fire, Sansara dava nala nidha. Dava nala means forest fire. Nala nidha loka, a place where, which is like a forest fire, a blazing forest fire is going on. So must, Prabhupada is using the words must and should. When in the rule of communication, such words are orders. That means there is no option. It's not like maybe you can consider to have a guru. Maybe it will be nice to have a guru to put these questions in front of someone who's more experienced. No, the word used is one must approach a guru. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadishta. I'm forgetting the last 2 lines. But tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Put the question and serve the guru. One must approach. Who is in a disciplic succession? That is also written. One should not. Should also is an order. Should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. So one who doesn't do this or does not consider, do to chalo theek hai, consider bhi nahi, dimag mein bhi nahi aata, does not even consider doing it, is called as kripana, or a miserly person, because that person is just wasting their time in being overly affectionate. There is no harm in having affection to the family members. You see, Vasudev, when Kansa was going to kill Devaki, when there was an announcement from the sky that your sister's 8th son will be the one who will kill you, Vasudev was putting forward arguments to Kansa to save his wife from the danger. And one argument he did put, that these are our family, wife, children, kingdom. They are the objects of our affection. So they are the objects of affection. Without affection, how can you raise a child? Without affection, how can you have a relationship with your husband or wife, or with your countrymen, or with anybody? There is an element of affection. But just that is called kripana. The affection has to be checked. Okay, so talks between the spiritual master and disciple are serious. And here, although he could understand that his duty of fighting was awaiting him, still on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duty. This line, and then his surrender to Krishna, actually indicates vulnerability. One has to be vulnerable in front of a guru. We should show that I am helpless. I am in a helpless situation. Not like I have this and this and this and this, and now I need this. Give me. There's so many incidences that then the particular guru says, okay, you have everything, you don't need me. Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami was cousin of Sanatan Goswami, right? Am I mistaken? Anyway, so Jiva Goswami was a very big scholar. He was one of the 6 Goswamis in Ramagaudiya Sampradaya. And once one very renowned scholar came to Jiva Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. And Raghunath Bhatta Goswami was his nephew. So he was sitting outside the kutir to make sure that no one disturbs Jiva Goswami in his scholarly writing. So this particular person came and said, I want to meet Jiva Goswami. So Raghunath Bhatt Goswami goes inside and asks that this person has come to see you. Should I send him in? So he goes in, and then this person says, Jiva Goswami, that I want to challenge you. Jiva Goswami says, why do you want to challenge me? Because I have heard that you are becoming famous as more scholarly than me, and I want to retain the title of being the most scholarly person in the country. So I want to challenge you, and I want to debate with you so that I can prove that I am scholarly. So Jiva Goswami says, oh, no need to challenge. I will give you in writing that you are the most scholarly person. So he gives. Jiva Goswami writes and gives it to him, and the person comes out in 2 minutes. Raghunath Bhatt Goswami says, what did you do? You did not even hear him, no word uttered out of his mouth, and you gave him the certificate of being the most scholarly person, more scholarly than you are. What did you do? So Jiva Goswami says, that's all right. That's all right. We don't waste our time. Prabhupada says this, we don't waste our time in a person who's come here to challenge, because Krishna consciousness cannot be understood by debates. Krishna consciousness is an element of the heart. Krishna is sitting in the heart. Okay, it's an esoteric process. I have to connect with the Lord of my heart. Similarly, each one of us have to connect with our own self. Krishna consciousness is a journey of self-discovery, not journey of discovering upadhis. Sarva upadhi vinir muktam tat paritvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. We have to get rid of all these so-called upadhis. Or we can have millions of upadhis for the sake of Krishna. But not like there's so many. Harshita Mataji is a lawyer. She can fight on behalf of Krishna, right? Dr. Padhi is a surgeon. He can influence so many people because of who he is. Nirupama Mataji is a doctor. Bidisha Mataji is a physician. And I'm sure each one of you have so many good qualities which I am not aware of. I'm only quoting the devotees that I know so far. So eventually I will know everybody. Ashila Shri Mataji is a businesswoman. Sakshi Mataji. All of us can have hundreds and millions of upadhis for the sake of Krishna. You come to me, look at my upadhi, get attracted, and now sit down and hear. Just sit down and hear, okay? Don't talk. Just sit down and hear what Shastras have to say. You are attracted to my upadhi? Very nice. Come sit here. Mataji, I am seeing you. Just give me 1 minute because I want to do one slideshow. I have a class at 3 p.m. I will come to you. Do you have a burning question? Then you can unmute. Okay. Okay. So I want to discuss Guru Tattva a little bit. It is a very important verse. Let's see. So there are 4 kinds of gurus. Here Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna as a disciple, right? So there are 4 kinds of guru. Chaitya Guru is a Paramatma, the Lord in the heart, who hears the first voice of the mind. A living entity becomes sincere, wants to know who he is or she is. So Krishna hears that and then directs. Then the rest of the 3 gurus follow. First is Chaitya Guru. Then Patha Pradakshaka Guru or initial connector. You know, Patha Pradakshaka Guru is like one who shows, okay, you're walking on the road and you ask someone, where is the temple where I can go and pay obeisances to Krishna? And the person shows there, Baju mein, you know. So that person is a Patha Pradakshaka Guru because he showed you, but that it's not necessary that they themselves have to be Krishna conscious. It's not necessary, but we must have a element of gratitude for them, that thank you for showing me. Like in my case, when I started associating with devotees, Namanisha Prabhu and Sridhar Prabhu, they all came to the college. I had no idea who they are. I had no idea, even in the remotest of my existence. But I asked my senior, who are they? And where are they coming from? I want to go to the temple. So she took me. Whether she herself is Krishna conscious or not, that's a different discussion. So she is a Path Pradakshaka Guru, just to define what it is. Then there is Siksha Guru. Siksha Guru also can be more than one. Path Pradakshaka Guru can also be more than one. Siksha Guru can also be more than one. Siksha Guru is defined as a guide or teacher or a supporter, more like a mentor. Siksha Guru themselves have to be devotees. A person who is giving philosophy but is not a devotee is not entitled to be called as Siksha Guru. Okay, and then Diksha Guru is an initiator or connector and gives mercy. Diksha Guru is the one who gives Harinam and Brahminical initiation to the disciple. Okay, that's also one. So Chaitya Guru is 1 in number. Diksha Guru is 1 in number. Patha Pradakshaka Guru can be more than 1. Patha Pradakshaka Guru may themselves be cultivating Krishna consciousness or may not be cultivating Krishna consciousness. Siksha Guru can also be more than 1. We can take Siksha from many people around us. 11th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam describes, I think there are 24 kinds of Gurus if I remember correctly. Or there are many kinds of Siksha Gurus. It's described in 11th Canto. And it's more like a mentor, and Diksha Guru is 1. So the other question that comes, in my other class, we had a discussion why we need a guru, but here, for the interest of time, I want to complete this. I will say, we need a guru because a guru teaches Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Sambandha, what is my relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Abhideya, what are the activities in that relationship? And Prayojana, what is the goal of that activity and relationship? Guru is a magnet that aligns one's desires, words, and actions in the service of Krishna. So in simple language, teaches the confidential devotional service, how to serve Krishna. We do not know how to serve Krishna. So Guru teaches. Guru connects one to Krishna through the bona fide parampara. Sows the seed of bhakti in one's heart. You know, always interested. Srila Prabhupada, whenever he used to sign his letters, he used to write, your ever well-wisher. Always, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, your ever well-wisher. So ever, not only in this life, but life after life. The Guru never leaves. Life after life. So, Brahmana Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Kripaya Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. And Guru who gives direction in one's life. It brings nourishment to one's life. We feel so happy in Krishna consciousness, right? Why? Because of the mercy, not because of our own effort. Bhagavad Gita is available in the market. We can buy and read on our own. Unless and until we have a guru who teaches us the confidential aspects of Bhagavad Gita, serve Krishna like this, understand like this, the happiness will not manifest. It's a gift. The happiness that we feel is a gift. So in summary, the three main qualifications of a guru is it connects one to parampara. Prabhupada writes it, right, in 2.5 also. No, 2.7 and 2.6. And it has no desire to exploit in the name of a big guru. Not that, okay, I'm a guru of a millionaire businessman, so now come and serve me, give me this, give me that. No. Guru gives, and out of the gratitude of the heart, one feels like giving back to Guru. Not that the relationship is not based on business transaction. Teaches by example is very important. They practice what they're preaching. There is no gap. Okay. So Mataji, you had a question, and then we can cover some of the questions that I have for everyone. So everyone, please make an account on Teachable. I will share the link. We have 10 more minutes. Thank you,
Mataji,
Sumati.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you please show the first slide, what about the Guru Mataji? Guru teaches Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojana.
Yes,
that
Harshita
slide,
Mataji,
please,
you can unmute yourself. You had a question?
Mataji, my questions are almost covered, but still I would like to repeat them. My two questions were, how do I know that this particular master is my guru? And second of all, is it important to have a living master?
Okay, so how do I know that this particular...
कॉल करता था मी काय करू रेणू वगैरे तीन लोक
Prabhupada has given all the... Prabhupada has made our life simple and already. He has given a very detailed outline. How do you choose a guru? First thing is, Krishna will catch in the heart. Okay, Krishna consciousness is a function of relationship of a soul with Krishna. So Krishna will catch in the heart. So Chaitya Guru will see. And then you will be directed. Automatically, the universe, the material nature is going to align itself that you will be directed to proper association. It happens. Every single person who became Krishna conscious, you can ask them. I can vow it. Everybody had this question. I need something higher. You know, the Mataji who's coming to give us the class on Sunday, Vrajalila Mataji, you hear her story. So she's American. I asked her, how did you become Krishna conscious? She said, one morning I was fed up with my life and I was thinking near the window of my house, there's got to be something higher. There's got to be something higher. What is that? And then she met the devotees on the street of New York. She didn't even know Krishna. She's not even Indian. She's American. So you will be directed. And then how do you know whether you're directed in a proper association, or is this person guru or not? Prabhupada has given guidelines. You hear them. And then you offer respects. You inquire from them confidentially. You serve. And you hear them for 1 whole year before you decide whether this is a guru or not. For 1 whole year minimum, associate and hear them out. And then you will know, okay, whether you're feeling happiness or not. So can I bring up some questions? Is it okay?
It is important to have a living guru, right?
Oh, it's important to have a living guru. So that, so for one to get connected to a parampara, it is important to get formally initiated. So how can a guru, well, he who reasons ill, who says Vaishnava dies. For a Vaishnava lives to serve and dies to serve. So a Vaishnava, whether they are living or they are not living or they have left the body, they are doing the same thing, either in this planet or that planet. So that way the Vaishnavas or the elevated Vaishnavas are very, very special. Uttamadhikari, I'm talking about Uttamadhikari. But we need a guru to initiate us, right? So how can a acharya or a person who's physically not present or his bona fide representative has to do it? So So that is why.
Thank you,
Prabhupada has a special situation. Prabhupada has a special place in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Prabhupada has the title of founder Acharya. That title is not duplicated. No one is allowed to duplicate that title. Everybody knows that. Everybody. They can be spiritual master, they can be Diksha Guru, they can be sannyasi, or even now the Vaishnavis are also going to accept gurus, but they cannot call themselves as Acharya. The Acharya title is for Prabhupada, so that way each one of us have very special relationship with Srila Prabhupada because he gave us this knowledge. All Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru are coming out from him only. If he wouldn't have done it, then nothing would have existed. Meaning of Abhidheya and Prayojana, Mataji, Sambandha means relationship. Abhidheya means what is the activity of that relationship.
Can I speak, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, just let me just tell.
Can I speak something on Guru, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Can I just tell the meaning of Prayojana? Prayojana means goal. Prabhupada gives example of a marriage. So two people get married. Sambandha is established. Abhidheya means what now if people get married, then what is the activity? Okay, the wife goes to her father's house and the husband goes to his father's house, or what happens? Prabhupada explains it that they live together as husband-wife. They cultivate grihasthashram. Why? Why? What is the goal? The goal is to have a family. The goal is to nurture each other in Krishna consciousness. So that's Prayojana. Abhidheya is activity. Sambandha is relation. Yes, Dr. Padi, please go ahead. If we can cover one or two questions. Yes, Dr. Padi, please.
Yeah, regarding this question on living Guru, why do we require that question? Because living Guru is the people actually who are the self-realized people, like say Srila Prabhupada or say Ramakrishna Paramahansa, whoever has attained that type of they have direct connection with the Supreme. So when people come to them and to accept, and Guru also accept, not that everybody will be accepted as disciple. So if you are qualified for that, then what happens, they will connect you, that what initiation is that now. With that higher consciousness, they will connect us to the higher consciousness. So they will become a medium for us to reach the Krishna consciousness. So, but unfortunately, everyone is not lucky enough to get the living bona fide gurus. Sometimes if somebody is born at that time, then they will be getting. But the secret is, if we are prepared to be the correct disciple, if our whole system is prepared, then what happens, the Guru will appear before us. So we have to be up to that. If you take the example of, say, Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Vivekananda, actually Ramakrishna Paramahansa called Vivekananda to become disciple because he could able to see. So in other words, what I can tell, the Guru appeared before Vivekananda. So that is how the situation occurs. The connection between Guru and Sisya, it is like between the Bhakta and Bhagavan. So, but if we are prepared to be that, then definitely we'll get the living Guru, and we can, to understand, it will not take much time. But unfortunately, many of us in this time may not able to get a proper living Guru, because the fact is that we are not prepared to get into that higher consciousness. Once we are prepared, then the Guru will be appearing before us.
Thank you, Prabhu. So the question that is there today is...
Mataji, just a quick one.
Mataji,
yeah, one second, Mataji. Vasudevan Prabhu is trying to speak. Yes, Prabhu.
In this context, I would like to say something. Parampara. A guru in his lifetime grooms disciples whom he has chosen that they are worthy disciples. And it is one of these disciples who becomes a guru when the first guru goes away. That's because everyone is mortal. The guru has to leave the world one day. So when that guru goes, he leaves in succession the other man who was his trusted disciple. He becomes his guru. So it is always good to have a guru who is in existence. rather than Guru who is not extinct.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Mataji, what is your question? Tanvi Mataji.
Mataji, just that if I want to read more about the four sampradayas and our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya more in detail, like I can Google, but then I want to read something authentic. So just let me know if we can have a session sometime, or maybe if you can refer to a website where I can read more about it.
Mataji, what do you want to read? Because ultimately the four sampradayas, the goal is the same. It is just the vidhi that they are doing it is different. Let's say North India marriage happens by band baja barat, right?
Yeah.
South India is so simple. They're very culturally strong. South India marriage happens very simply, very regulated and very culturally very strong. No Bollywood dances, at least not what I saw when I was in Bangalore. Or Bengal, the marriage happens another way, but the goal is to get married, right? So when the goal is the same, what is Prabhupada says, Prabhupada gives example of Ramana Sampradaya. Prabhupada says Krishna, there are four sampradayas. One is coming from Lord Brahma, which is Brahma Gauriya Sampradaya. Another is coming from Lakshmi, which is Lakshmi Sampradaya, where Ramanujacharya is the prominent Acharya. Another one is coming from Lord Shiva, so Rudra Sampradaya. And another one is coming from four Kumaras. So Nimbarka Acharya is the most prominent Acharya. So when Prabhupada was asked, what is the difference? Because the goal is Krishna. They said, why not? Krishna is so diverse. Krishna can be worshipped in so many ways. We worship Krishna and according to Pancharartika Vidhi. Narad Muni gave us the Pancharartika Vidhi. And go to what is that temple? Sri Venkateshwara in Andhra. Lord Venkateshwara temple. Krishna is worshipped in a separate vidhi.
Tirupati.
In Tirupati.
Tirupati Balaji.
Yes. So Tirupati Balaji, there Krishna is worshipped in a different vidhi. They don't follow what we do. Like we do arti considering earth, water, fire, air, ether. Like there's a science, right? What we do. But they are not doing the same way. And Kumar Sampradaya I have seen in Vrindavan. They offer arti in a different way to the deity. So Krishna is enjoying the pampering from different devotees according to their parampara. Why not? But the goal is Krishna. So there is no difference in one sense.
So philosophy is same, Mataji?
It has to be same. Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan. Yeah, you get married in Delhi, you get married in Karnataka, you get married in Assam, you get married in Bombay. The certificate is same, na? Marriage certificate.
Yes.
It's just the way, because we want to see Krishna according to different opulences. So like Tirupati Balaji, Krishna is decorated so beautifully. Actually, Krishna belongs to Vrindavan. He's a cowherd boy, right? But he's decorated so beautifully. So that's like opulence, sign of opulence. So that's like more like Dwarka in Mathura kind of worship, right? But the Gaudiya Vaishnava worship Krishna in his Vrindavan form. But it has to be same. There cannot be difference. The differences are in our minds, not in the big acharyas. Okay, can we just do one question? Mataji, but if you still want to read, then you have to read first canto Srimad Bhagavatam to answer your question. What is the meaning of the phrase Dharma Samudda Chetha? I will bring it. Dharma Samudda Chetha. This is the only thing we could do today. Krishna Chaitanya, I'm late for the class. Dharma, religion. Samudda, bewildered. Cheta, in the heart. So what is the meaning? Combine them. Anyone? Someone is asking me if I'm going to repeat this class. I will share the recording with you. I am not going to repeat the class. So I know what is my religion. Arjuna is saying, I know, is being vulnerable, right? I know what is my religion. I'm a Kshatriya. But because of the weakness of the heart, I am bewildered. That is the meaning of Dharma Samudda Cheta. Okay, I think that's the only thing we could do today. I have a request. Can we meet Saturday next week instead of Sunday? Because I work Saturday night, so it will be hard.
Yes, Mataji. Your convenience, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
What time?
I will ask in WhatsApp if anyone has any obligatory, whatever, like commitments. So please tell me.
Same timing?
Same timing.
Yeah, okay, Mataji.
But just for next
1:15.
week. If anyone cannot, please let me know and I will be happy to go over what we do. Okay.
Mataji.
But tomorrow
Okay.
class.